I was afraid to leave you on your own. I said I'd catch you if you fall.
JK was married to Wine. They both were family friends. Jungkook came back from America 2 weeks ago after completing his studies. His parents wanted him to marry, but he didn't want to. After a lot of forcing, they made him married to Wine. There was one problem, and that was the age gap in their age. Wine is 20 and their Jungkook is 29 years old. Jungkook still doesn't accept her as his wife. He thinks she is so young and it would be good if he keeps as much as distance he could keep from her. Wine pop. It looks delicious, Wine said after looking the cupcake she made for her husband. It's 7 a.m., the time her husband would woke up and came down. She woke up at 5 a.m. to make all this for her husband. Wine saw he was coming down. She was secretly jealous of him, looking so handsome because many female in the college tries to grab attention of him. He's new in the college, but Wine knows his nature. He's much more into his profession. He came and sat on the chair. Wine smiled at him. She brings his coffee and cupcake. She looked at him who was looking down on the notes he had in his hands. Morning, Wine said to him cheerfully. He replied with, sipping his coffee. Wine, did you sleep well? They both slept separately because JK told her to focus on her studies now. JK, looking at his file. Have the cupcake too? Wine said it with a light smile. She wanted to know if he likes them or not. Jungkook diverted his attention from his notes to Wine. JK, I will later. I am just busy with some stuff, he said while sipping his coffee. And why are you not ready yet? You're getting late for the college. Wine smiled dulled. She gets up quickly. After 15 minutes, she came back fully ready. She saw he was still into his notes and didn't even taste the cupcake she made for him. She came towards him and said, I am leaving for the university. Have the cupcake. I made it. Without letting him respond, she left from there. He looked at her bag and sighed. He was watching everything, how she was putting efforts in things. He looked at the cake she made for him. He smiled a little. One puff. She went to the college and saw her friends. Sana waved at her. Sana, Wine, we are here. She called her. Wine went to them. Sana is the only friend in the group who knows that Jungkook is the husband of Wine. They chat for some time and left for the class. It's the class of Professor Jeon. She was sitting when Jungkook entered the classroom. She looked at him who was entering with his dashing personality. Jungkook, good morning everyone. Wine puff. He started giving his lecture. She was in awe how much handsome he is. Whole lecture she looked at him and thinking why he is so cold to her. Maybe he wants to take some time. He doesn't even glance at me. Am I that ugly? Negative thoughts came in her mind when Sana called me. Sana, Wine looked at Anna. I looked at Anna who was standing very close to Jungkook and smiling. She looked at Jungkook who also smiled at her a little. Wine. Whenever he's around me, his lips are always sealed. She murmured. Sana, what are you murmuring? Wine. Nothing. I will meet you in the cafe. She saw Jungkook getting out of the room. She went behind him. She was standing outside of the office. Wine puff. It's usual for me to eat lunch in his office with him while he does his paperwork and I do my lunch. Thank God he didn't stop me from coming here with him. She went inside the office. As usual, he was on his seat doing his work. He looked up at her, who was already staring at him with so much love in his eyes. He got up from his desk and came closer to her. Jacob, order whatever you want. I'm going for a meeting. He put his wallet on the table. Wine face dulled. Wine, you have a meeting? JK, yeah, he only said a word. I'll come after an hour. Wine, oh, okay then, I'll go eat with my friends. How can I tell him I only eat with him because I wanted to see him every time? She left without letting him reply. She reached the cafe and found her friends there. She suddenly remembered she forgot wallet at Jungkook's cabin. One, oh shoot. Wait, I'll come back in a minute, girls. She laughed and walked toward the Jungkook office. When she reached there, the door was silently open, and she peeked inside and saw Anna was back hugging him. One, so this was the reason he wanted me to leave. She thinks in her mind with tear visible in her eyes. Her breath hitched. She tried to turn around with her shaky figure. Bottle from her hand fell down. The loud voice took attention of Jungkook. He looked in the direction where the noise came. He pushed Anna away and went towards the door. Get out, he harshly tells the Anna. She left from there. When he looked outside, there was no one there. He looked down where the bottle was dropped. He picked it up. He knew who was here. He fisted his hand and squinted his eyes. Wine, it wasn't like that, he murmured in his mouth, thinking Wine might have misunderstood him. Wine puff. I couldn't take that anymore. I left from there. I didn't have any strength to stay there anymore. I came back home. I went in the kitchen to make myself calm down. She grabbed the bottle of water with her trembling fingers and started drinking. While drinking with my shaky hand, my eyes fell on the dustbin, and there my heart completely broke into pieces. The cake I made was in the bin. You could have said to me that you don't love me, she murmured in her mouth with shaky figure and trembling eyes. But you didn't even say that. It was me all the time who was putting efforts in everything. I can't even blame you. You didn't even show me affection. Her tears made her face wet, one after one tear dropping from her eyes. She went to the guest room and locked herself. She fell on the bed and took everything out. She cried for the whole 3 hours. Her tears weren't stopping. She fell asleep on the bed while crying. Jacob Pop. I searched her, but I couldn't find her anywhere. I cancelled my meeting. She wasn't even picking up my calls, and then I asked one of her friends, JK, do you know where Vine is? He said worriedly. Sana, I thought she was with you, she said surprisingly. JK nodded and left from there. He came back home. He saw no one was here. The kitchen was empty. The room was empty. Where this girl could go, he said, putting his hand on his forehead. His last hope was guest room. Jungkook went there and it was locked. He took a long breath. It means Wine is in there. "JK, Ryan, open the door," he said softly, but still no answer came. "JK, look, Ryan, it's not like what you think. Please let me tell you the whole thing." But still no reply. He knows she needs space, so he gives her time and goes from there. Ryan paused. She was crying completely and her look became messed. "I just love you selflessly. What was my mistake that you were punishing me?" she said while wiping her tears. "Wine, now I made up my mind what to do. I needed to love myself first, then everybody else. He better respects me and the relationship. I know he doesn't love me, but that doesn't mean he can disrespect me and our marriage like that." The knock caught my attention. Jungkook is here. He was trying to explain everything, but I ignored him. He deserved this. Wine went to the washroom to get freshened up. After a whole day at midnight, she came out from her room and made something in the kitchen. She knew Jungkook would be in his room working on some notes, probably. She made sandwiches only for herself. She knew JK would be hungry too, but that's not her headache, right? She ignored his thoughts and started eating. While eating, she heard the door unlocked. She knows that it is Jungkook. He comes out of his room and greeted silence. He looked at her, who was enjoying her meal. That was so unusual. When she was around him, she always talked nonstop. He sighed. He went towards her and sat beside her. She didn't even look at him. "JK, I didn't hug her," he said softly, trying to explain himself. "Wine, I don't care," she said, unbothered. "JK, she came to my office and without asking me, she hugged me. That was the moment you saw us." Wine didn't ask. She again sat without looking at him. The next moment, she got up from the chair and left from there without giving him any chance to explain. She went inside the guest room and locked the door. Jungkook was just looking at her action. He doesn't know why he was acting for her to look at him for once and give him chance to explain everything. He saw her swollen eyes. He was hating himself knowing he was the reason behind them.
I was afraid to leave you on your own. I said I'd catch you if you fall.